Happy New Year, all. Happy New Year. We thought about printing our own I Was There for the big win over the Cardinals shirt that everybody's going nuts over. But we'll leave that to the expert shirt makers out there to memorialize such a major, historic victory for the Bengals. Snark, snark. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the Buckeyes in the playoffs. Tonight, we're here New Year's Eve. We're going to talk about the NFL players, the NFL draft. I've got some interesting quarterback tidbits that you don't know about. It's going to be interesting to see how you react to that, Stevie boy. And we're going to talk about much, much more on the happy, kind, resolution edition of the Bang, the Drum podcast. Stevie boy, do you feel calm and mellow on this last day of 2025?
I do. We've had some time to take in this season, so yeah. I mean, I'm not happy about what's went on, but I'm okay. I'm gonna survive 2025.
What Donna Summer said.
Yeah, and then 2026 is just a handful of hours away. So let's go.
2026, good Christmas and everything, right?
I did.
Yeah.
I did. You?
Yeah, real good. How did your quote unquote dominance go?
I sucked.
Because the girls said that you. I thought about that later. I was like, he just put a lot of pressure on himself. Probably took the fun out of it. And the girls say you don't win all the time. Your daughter said
they lie, but I did not win that night.
What happened to you? The pressure get to you? You talk too much shit?
No, I just didn't play good. No, I didn't play very good at nothing.
So I asked my daughter, I said, I haven't heard from him on his dominance. What do you think that means? She said, I know what that means. He lost. So nobody was rooting for you. Not one person.
I did lose, so I bought a new shuffleboard. Got it really cheap.
So you're going to blame the board now, right?
Well, kind of. But it takes longer to play the games. So we played one tournament and I lost it. So, like, it wasn't like on the old shuffleboard cheap one where we could play, like, 4 or 5 single elimination tournament. It takes 10 times longer to play one game because it's an actual shuffleboard, not a little toy.
I'll tell you this. I was not confident in you winning. I was not.
I really wasn't either. It was just fun saying it all day.
I was confident in you having a pretty good excuse worked up, which you did. Solid excuse. I knew you bring the effort on that.
I mean, I'm sure if I'd have played 3 or 4 games, I'd lost those too. But yeah. But the fact of it is I lost one tournament, and it took forever to play that one tournament. We had 5 teams, so it just took a while.
Were you good sport in losing?
I was mad at myself because I sucked, but I mean, I'm used to doing that. So
it
just felt good to be. To feel like I was going to be dominant for, I don't know, what was that, 5 or 6 hours.
Yeah.
And reality hit. And
it's what happens.
It is what it is.
You know, they always said about, Barry Sanders always said, act like you've been there before. Mm-hmm. In your case, act like you've been there before. You're used to losing, so you just don't get sour about it, right?
Right. Well, no, I still get sour, but.
You don't express because you've handled it so many times at everything.
Oh, no, I expressed it pretty well, and my wife looked at me like I'm a damn idiot. So
she did.
But I didn't express it that night because I was just having fun. We all hung out, and it was fun.
Fun's a good thing. We're going to talk about New Year's resolutions here in a second, but first, let's go ahead and get this beer out of the way so we don't let it get warm. You can pull it up here. I don't really remember this one, honestly.
Mad Trees.
Cincinnati brand.
Holly Days.
Why did you have a hard time with the word holly?
I didn't. I just wanted to say it because it's actually Holly Days.
Oh,
it's 2 words.
Oh man, this is an IPA. I didn't even recognize that. We're not gonna like this sucker.
Oh, probably not.
3, 2, 1.
Oh my God, I could already smell it.
It's not horrible. I don't mind it. I do taste that sprucey taste to it. It's got nodes of trees in it.
I think it's literally got bark in it.
Bark, bark. Ironically, they play the Browns this week. Out of 5, who days? What do you give that one?
I'm gonna give it a 0.25 who days out of 5.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do much better. Probably 1 or 2. Mad Tree's got some good beers. This isn't it. I don't think we've tried this one before.
No,
we
absolutely
did
not.
We did one Mad Tree. I'm gonna drink it, unlike you. Here's the problem I have, and one of many problems with you. I'll single down to this one. Our beer tasting venture. I give you a Christmas.
I thought this was supposed to be
I know.
festive New Year's resolution, and we've been in this podcast exactly 5 minutes, and here we go.
That's as far as I can go is 5 minutes. But the thing is, like, we do this beer segment. You got Great Lakes, which is a great Christmas sale. The problem with you is you try these beers, and first of all, I almost cussed right then. You leave them out there for me to clean up, and you taking like one bleeping sip out of an expensive beer. How can you defend yourself on that? That's horrible.
There's not much defense there, other than I like give you 10 or 15, $20 and be like, here's for all the beer I'm gonna waste.
There you go. That's more like it, I guess. Yeah. Shameful, very shameful. Yeah. So you, before we get into the Bengals talk, got any big New Year's resolutions, or do you believe in New Year's resolutions? What do you got?
Oh, I believe in them. So I had lost a good bit of weight. Took me about 2.5 years. Took me about 3 months to gain it all back. So
you gained it all back?
No, I'm still down 35 from where I was. But I lost damn near 80 pounds, and I've gained 35 back. So resolution is to lose that, which I know I can do. I did it before.
Yep.
Another resolution is to shove that damn cigar so far down your freaking throat that you'll choke for days.
Yeah,
you won't die. You'll just be like,
Sounds good. I love that. The smoke just finds itself. It's like no matter where we're at, no matter which way the wind's blowing, if we're outside, somehow.
Don't matter.
Even when I try not to do it, it's still just good. You're not a chick magnet by any stretch of imagination, nor have you ever been, but you are a smoke magnet. I'll give you that. I like it. I like it a lot. The thing of it is, when you worked out in here with me, you lost probably close to that amount of weight, but you did it in a healthy way.
Probably.
The gym is the way.
I was a while back now. It was like 5 years ago.
Yep. 4 years ago, probably.
Yeah.
I think it was 21. Well, it was going on 5 years.
Yeah, it was Burrow's. It was his rookie season. It was after the 2020.
Yeah, it was going into the second year, 2021. So, got anything else? So, does that mean you're going to lose weight? Is that your resolution? Do you have dates on that, or what are you?
Yeah, I just like to get back down where I was, about 230, 235. That's a pretty good weight for me. It's still not great, but it's. I mean, if anyone out there who has lost weight or has trouble with, I guess the mental part of it, because it's tough, right?
Yep.
I mean, food nowadays is awful. I mean, it's just everything you eat, and it's so expensive to eat.
It's going to be bad for you.
Yeah, and it's so expensive to eat healthy. Not just, I mean, you got multiple people in your house or whatever, then you're eating different from everyone else. So you got 2-3 meals, been there, done all this. If you want to get on one of the shots, whether it's Bonjour or whatever, them shots are through the roof. Makes you feel pretty good, but then there's still ways it doesn't. But another resolution with this podcast is I want to help you be better.
Me or them?
No, you.
Me?
I want to help you be better, and I think I can do that. I think.
Was that an insult, or what, you insulting me, or what are you trying to say there?
I mean, I think I can help you be better on this podcast. Is what I'm saying.
Okay.
So I'm going to really push hard. I think it can be done by maybe November, December next year. 11, 12 months of hard work may be able to get us there, and maybe take this podcast to the next level.
Okay. You know what Tracy Jones said with Marty and Tracy? Brendan Jones.
That's hard
baseball.
to tell.
Well, he says a lot of things. He's hilarious. He said coming into this year, right into it, he said, this is our 25th or whatever year it is. Sorry, I'm not getting it right. Something like that. He said, you know what, Marty? I'm deciding to make a change. Marty said, what is it? He goes, I think I'm going to try this year. 25 years in. So you're going to put more effort in, right?
Sure.
Because it sounded like you were digging me, but really you're saying you're not putting any effort. Is that fair?
No,
that's not what you're saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
I don't really know what you're saying, but that sounds great. All right. Anything else?
No. What's your resolution?
So I don't generally make resolutions. I'm going to do one, I think. But my thing is, so I forgot the author's name here. I'm going to have to look it up. I haven't read this book in a while. There's a book called Atomic Habits. You should read it. I know you hate reading. It's Atomic Habits. I'll look it up here in a second. So the author, I'll do it while I'm talking. The author of Atomic Habits is actually from like Hamilton. I don't know how much money he would have made off this. It's James Clear. So I read this years ago, probably when we were working out then. And his whole thing is like narrowing things down. It's the absolute truth no matter how you look at it. You go down to the basic roots of it. If you think macro goals, you're going to have a hard time with it. Like your weight. If you've got a big goal that big, you're going to have a hard time with anything. And that's what people do, right? Especially this time of year. Gyms will be full the next few days. My gym, I'm worried it's going to be people just running in here with no, But they do that, and the intent's not bad by any stretch. But if you sizzle things down to a very minute level, the micro level, and say that I'm going to be here by the end of January. Mm-hmm. Or not even that, I'm going to do these things every week by the end of January and see where I'm at. That's what works. Because then you're not focused on the scales and focused on that. Because ultimately, the scales matter at some point, but really it's how you feel and how you fit in your clothes and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes the scales are misleading because when you were with me, you were getting more muscle as well, right? Mm-hmm. So that'll trick the scales a little bit. So my initial goal, not a resolution, I'm doing 3-week increments. Like in my world, they do agile sprints from an IT tech standpoint. So I'm doing a 3-week sprint. I already started a little bit. In that 3 weeks, I'm going to be at a certain level, right? So mine's always cutting down below a 10-pound marker, whether it's 210, 220, 200, whatever. That pound below that's my goals, right? 10-pound increments. So next 3 weeks, I'm going to try to be there. But it's tough. Like I'm going to try to be in the best shape I've ever been in. And that's going to be tough. But that's the goal. I don't have an end date on it. I'm just going to keep pushing and try to get there. So, some people have told me that before, and this is not knocking. I'm not talking that at you this time, but some people say, hey, I want to be in the best shape I've ever been in my life. And I would look at them and say, what? You can get that by tomorrow, right? This week? Is that when you're getting? Because some people are really bad shape. So mine is really to step that up, and that's going to include mobility, right? Joint movement, all that kind of stuff, which is the tricky part, those isometric holds, which I hate so much. So actually, weight-wise, I'm a lot better than I thought I was, so I checked it. But I ain't going to start checking that, doing that. So that's the initial goal, which isn't a resolution. Resolution, I'm going to try not to, as we come into this podcast, you and I want to have fun, we have. But it's tough not to get a little bit serious, right? So I don't want to lose the fun side as we talk very transparent and open here. For me, like the last few weeks, it's hard to have fun because you're thinking about all the stuff, But you still want to have fun, drink beer, joke at each other, joke about it. When you get on the inside of anything, I told you this, right, before we started this, from my experience writing football and MMA especially MMA, you get on the inside of it sometimes and you lose that fun of it because you're so ingrained in it and you see a lot of the bullshit, right? So what I've experienced I'm not going to name names, from an MMA standpoint back then and a football writer standpoint, you and I have had these conversations off the air, the vast majority of these people don't know what the hell they're talking about. So the more you get into it, I'm talking name guys in football. They're just regurgitating what coach says to them or whatever. They don't really know the sport and they don't know any history of it, right? So it can eat at you. At the end of the day, you just got to avoid all that and be yourself, right? So that is kind of resolution to do that. And just, my resolution is probably the same every year, be more mindful and in the present moment with people, right? Being in the present, which is can be tough with all the distractions and everything else as you look at your phone. As I was saying, perfect transition right there. So that's it for me.
I'm looking something up.
I know, looking up.
I'm lying.
Atomic Habits, highly recommend it. James Clear, I think he's from Hamilton, somewhere like that. So here we go. Arizona recap. Cardinals, dominant performance by the Bengals. No surprise. The Cardinals were 3-13 overall. 1-13 in their last 14 games. They are clearly the worst team in the league. It's not even close. Would they be if Kyler's playing? Maybe not. They've had a lot of injuries, but teams have injuries every year, right? And typically most bad teams have a lot of injuries. My thing here, I'll jump you in a second, but my thing has with the Bengals beat and others, there's one guy, again, I'm going to try not to name names here. This just shows what this team is capable of. Shut up. I'm just like, this guy's on a big-time outlet, Stevie Boy, and he's a Bengals media guy. And you know what I'm talking about. I said, get the hell out of here, dude. There is no way you believe that. And then they start doing with T and Chase and Joe. Okay. What's the percentage of time that happens? Not very good.
It's like 25%.
So what makes you think that that's going to change as they get older? It's not, fool. So this guy saying all that stuff is, they're prisoners of the moment, right? And I'm not. And that always aggravates me. Like, you think, if you're doing your job, you think at a macro level, and you think about, is this repeatable? Hey, we got 5 turnovers, whatever game. We're going to win every game. No, you're not going to get those 5 turnovers. That's not how the league works. It's not how anything works. So if you were complaining and moaning and groaning when they got their ass kicked 24-0 in Baltimore, and now you're not because of the Miami and the Arizona game, you're just a wank, man. You're just a wanker. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. You're a mouthpiece for the owner. A lot of times you can tell, same with politics, you can tell the Bengals, someone in there is feeding them this, right? And they just go write it because they want the access. It's miserable reporting. And the other side of that, now I stop and I say, from a fan standpoint, it gets equally on my nerves, if not more. Some guy came at me like, well, Joe's playing because Joe wants to play. Why are you blaming Zach? That's the bleeping problem, dude. That's why they're not a football organization. Football organizations do not let a player decide that kind of stuff, right? True organizations in any sport don't do that. So they're going to work so we'll talk about it in a bit. They've worked themselves out of a pretty high pick, and they're probably going to fall at least 2 more spots, right? That's stupid by any stretch. There's no way you can say it's not. Well, Joe wanted to play. Zach's not. Well, you're just telling me then that Zach's a cheerleader, which is what I said all along. I would agree with you. So as a fan, though, I see them going nuts. Oh, it felt so good to win. It's stupid to say it. But if you get excited watching Joe, Chase, and T play, we talked about this. I guess I don't have a problem with that. But that also tells me you're not a really hardcore like we are. You know what I'm saying? Like Uncle Terry is, and Justin. Because all of us that know the sport and everything else are not happy when they win right now. That's called scruples. That's called understanding the game. But, like I said, you want to watch him play, you want to watch Jamar spin move I texted you about when he did it. Unbelievable.
It's unreal.
I get why you're happy about that. Your thoughts on all that, or what are your take from the game? You don't even have to comment on all that.
No, I mean, they should have done what they done. It's fun to watch those guys. I have just as much fun, I think, watching Chase Brown. I really like when he gets the ball in his hand and what he does. He's never going to be like a 1,1300, 700. He ain't going to be a Marshall Faulk because there's just too many people on the team, right? Yep. But it's fun to just, like I said, I didn't even watch the game. I went back and watched it on replay because it has nothing to do with my heart and where it's at. It has to do with it doesn't matter. Just like you said, I don't want them to play. Joe should definitely not play this week. Chase should not. None of them should play this week. I mean, who cares about stats? Who cares about whatever? I get Joe worked his ass off to get back. I get that he wants to play football, but I think there's a time where you gotta put your foot down and be like, let's set this. Man, I don't think they'll play all game. I think it'll be like a preseason. But if you're going to do that, then why even play them at all?
Yep, I'd be starting Jake Brown.
Yeah. I mean, for sure. But it's been a tough year. We know where they should be, and we know where they're at. And that's what it basically comes down to. That's why it's so aggravating. That's why I was perfectly fine missing the game, hanging out with the old lady, and having a good time. And I mean, it's been a bad year, but 2026, let's do it all over again here in 4 days.
Yep, Black Monday is coming. Unfortunately, it won't be coming for the Bengals. Similar to the draft, similar to the trade deadline, similar to free agency, the Bengals will be active in this as they are in all the rest of it, and that is not, my friends, a compliment. So, the old go-to, well, Burrow's hurt and all that, which is absolutely true to a degree. They're 2-6. They're going to be 2-6 versus playoff opponents, right? So whether it's Baltimore or Pittsburgh, it doesn't matter. They're 2-6 versus playoff opponents. 2-2 with Burrow under center. So that Buffalo game and not playing the New England game looks pretty bad right now. The Buffalo game was exciting at least, right? The Baltimore game was not. I think last year, they were 1-7 or something like that versus playoff teams, and Burrow started the whole year. There's your trends. If people want to get trends, I'll give you trends, and these are factual trends. And now they're 19-15 with Burrow, I think, over the last 3 years. Not good enough. So something's wrong. Are you going to fix it? Right? And I'm going to get more into that in a little bit. They won't. Did you see Golden's comments on Geno Stone? I'll let you take
I heard
the lead
all
on
of
that.
his I heard all of his comments. So if you didn't, yes, he commented about how he's been a leader and how he helps get guys lined up on the field and all that kind of stuff. But then he was asked, "Well, because they did they picked on him here. They said, hey, so do you see him in his future?" And Golden pretty much put his foot down and said, "I'm not talking about next year." He's like, "I'm talking about this. What are you going to say last game of the year?"
You can't say anything.
You can't slam him. You can't whatever. He's just having played good one more game, and then we'll cut ties because there's no way that you can keep that guy on your roster. No way.
I would hope not.
There's no way.
I would hope not. And honestly, we're not going to hit on all the needs today. We will next week. But I think both safeties either one of them can't be a starter, which is my point about losing because Caleb Downs, we'll talk about it in a second, I'm getting ahead of myself, but Caleb Downs might be Palomalo. And you know how many teams
He's so good.
The Browns beating Pittsburgh is a bad win for them. Horrible win.
Yeah, it is.
It's a horrible win. But when you're in the division and it's a rivalry, I'll give a slight pass, but only a slight pass. And you got a rookie quarterback.
Right. I mean, what else are you going to do? You can't put them.
That part I get a little bit, and it is a rivalry. And surprisingly, they beat Pittsburgh. I don't know how many times in Cleveland. You remember how many they lost in a row when Roethlisberger was there? That's the value of the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you look at the Saints, who already could have their quarterback. They need to know that. And they're playing pretty damn well. They've won 4. The only teams in the top 12 with real winning streaks are the Bengals, stupid, and the Saints. I'll give the Saints a little bit of a pass. The Raiders now are the top pick. The Giants already have their quarterback. Even when you have your quarterback, though, the potential to trade down right there, you can get a bounty, man. That's the thing. I wish they go to a lottery, and I'll ask your opinion on that in a second. I think the NFL should go to a lottery. Because these last few games, man, it's miserable to watch. It's worse than preseason games for some of these games. So you think about it, if you do that, you're the Giants even. You win a game, you might have cost yourself, I don't know how many first-round picks, and some of the other teams are doing the same. That is franchise-altering. The Browns the same way. Potentially altering the future of your franchise to win a meaningless game in the last 3 weeks. And I'm going to argue the Bengals have done the same thing because I think Caleb Downs is going to be I don't think he's going to be there. They're going to go to 12. We'll talk about it. To win a meaningless game. And no, you don't go out and call bad plays. You can't do that. Or, hey, next play, fumble. You don't do any of that. You coach like you normally coach. It's who you play, though, right? You put Jake Browning out there, everything looks different. You might still win the Arizona game. I think I never agree with these comments, but I do think Ohio State might beat Arizona, honestly. With Brissett, they might beat them, especially with Buda Baker out. So that one, I don't even know if you could have lost that game if you tried. The Miami game you might have, and you definitely could this game because the Browns are trying to win. That's the whole danger of having lame duck coaches like Zach. In his mind, but he's not a lame duck. I think they're going to bring him back, unfortunately. But in his mind, he's hearing all that. Stefanski's definitely hearing it in Cleveland. So they coach their ass off and do everything they can to win against scrub teams. And by letting them stay as coaches, you're hurting yourself next year, the next year, and the next year. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And the NFL needs to solve that with a draft lottery akin to the NBA. Your thoughts on that potential draft lottery? They won't do it, I don't think.
No, they won't do it, but that would be interesting. I have thought about that before, especially when they were picking 27th, 20th, 29th, 30th, right? Even if you have that slight chance.
Well, it'd only be non-playoff teams.
Right.
So yeah, I would do it. I would do it because the thing of it is the argument in football, and I get it. If some team that was 13th, 12th, they might be 500 or better, gets the number one pick. I wouldn't do that. I would do a top 10 lottery. So you still have the fuzziness around 10 or 11. But if you got a top 10 pick, which the Rams are going to have because the Falcons probably, maybe not. But in that, I would do a top 10 lottery every year. And now you've got so much more interest from those top. Instead of people getting uber pissed like we are, that they're going from 5th to 7th, some team like the Browns or whatever. You still got a shot. It hurts your chances. But that lottery, the NFL's printing money. If they did a draft lottery and had an hour special, everybody and their brother would watch it.
Yep.
I can't believe they haven't done it because they'll sell their soul. I mean, they'll do anything, right, for a dime. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't that be cool, though, a top 10 lottery?
It would be cool. I could see that being a big money maker. I mean, it's our town. Hell, they could move that thing around if they wanted to. City to city, state to state.
Oh.
I mean, they could do whatever they wanted with that, too.
Yep.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yep, I think it'd be neat. So I'm going to jump off screen. I'm going to read from something. I'm going to try to do this slow and not fast, and then I'll give you a chance to react, okay? You don't know what I'm about to do. So this is interesting. It took me a while to go through all this. I'm going to give you quarterback winning percentages, and I'm going to go old school to our era, and I'm going to go to the current era, and I'm going to give you what that equates to played out over 17 games. I've done it with Burrow several weeks now, right? And more so Zach. So I'm going to give this to you, and I think there's going to be some things that surprise everybody when we listen to this. Joe Montana with San Francisco, 7.19 equates to 12.2. With Kansas City when he was old, 11.56. Favre, his whole career, with just Green Bay, 10.75. Marino, 10.4. So Marino, 10.4 wins a year over 17 games. They didn't play 17, I'm just doing the math. And no Super Bowls, right? He went to one early. I mean, back then I was old enough to kind of know what was going on. I thought he'd be there every year. And guess what? They did too. Sound familiar? Jim Kelly, 10.7. Troy Aikman, this is a little surprising, then I'll give some clarification. 9.68. Take away his rookie campaign when they went 0-11, they were horrible, 10.3. Peyton Manning, 11.93. That's including the Broncos because he was high there too. Tom Brady, no shock here. He's the highest of all these, 13.15. So Brady's average year is 13-4 if they played 17 games. That's hard to even imagine.
Yeah,
right? And I don't think the Bengals should necessarily be there, but I do think they should be 11, right? 10, 11. Mm-hmm. And they're not. Big Ben, 670, 11.4. This one is, I got it, Y-U-G-E, huge. This is going to speak volumes. Alex Smith with Kansas City only, 657, 11 wins per year. So everybody jumped all over Mahomes getting him credit, and he deserves some of it. But 11 wins a year with Alex Smith. What does that tell you? It tells you that a hell of a coach. I'm not knocking. Alex was a solid. He's not great. Solid. It tells you got a hell of a coach, and guess what else? A hell of a franchise. Things in place to win. Got me? To win. Mahomes, 753, 12.8. So they go up 1.7 wins per year when Mahomes come in. But they're already great. That's why he's got 3 rings, right? He jumped into a franchise that sat him a year with a Hall of Fame offensive genius in Andy Reid. That's an offensive genius for you, right? He could take. He's honestly making that practice squad quarterback look halfway decent, and he probably would if he had him for a full year. That's what they don't have in Cincinnati. Josh Allen, 690, 11.7, no surprise. Lamar, 716, 12, just not good in the playoffs. Jalen Hurts, 695, 11.81. I'll pause here on Hurts. Tom Brady, who I like as an announcer, I think he's already surpassed Romo. That's a low bar. Romo's going down. He's hard to watch anymore. Hard to watch. But Brady, surprisingly, they all fall into that same mantra where they want to brag up the quarterback when they win. Oh, he's turned in, it used to be they wanted to turn him into a quarterback Hurts. Guess what, Tom? No offense. That's still what they want to do. He's saying that during the Buffalo game, and he was like 11 for, at the time, he's either 10 to 22 or 11 to 23, and he had 100 yards. He's still only averaging like 200 yards a game. He's a winner. He's a winner. Yeah. You know who wins when they go to Alabama? Everybody. You know who wins back then when they went to Oklahoma? Everybody. You know who would win with that defense and that offensive line? Everybody. Jared Goff, 597, 10 wins. Stafford with the Lions, 451. This is the proof in the pudding. 451, 7 wins a year. With the Rams, 625, 10.6. What do the Rams have the Lions didn't back then? A franchise. What else do they have? A GM, a head coach, a system. Herbert, 547, 9.3 without Harbaugh. That's his whole career. With Harbaugh, this is not by chance, folks, 666, because that's what Harbaugh is. I joke. 11 wins. What does a coach make? What does he make, Mike Brown? A difference. Katie, are you listening? That's what a head coach does. No, they're in their cavern right now. They don't give a damn about anything. You see the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Herbert would still be doing the same damn thing. They brought in a real head coach. That's 2 wins a year on average, dude. That's a lot. In the NFL, you're not playing 82 games, right? The NFL, you jump 2 games, that is huge with the same quarterback. And honestly, I don't think their roster's as good. They lost all the receivers, the defense. Rodgers with Green Bay, 662, 11.25. Dak, 60, 10.2. Purdy, small sample size. He's playing really well. 681 equals 11.5 wins per year. Brock Purdy. What can Kyle Shanahan do, Steve?
Coach.
What have the Niners always done well with Lynch? Their franchise. All right, Bo Nix, 696, 11.8. All right, so we stop there. Burrow's next. How do you think he compares to all of those?
Burrow's 9-something.
He's last. Of everybody I just named, Joe Burrow is last. And save your thoughts. 573, 9.74. Before we talk about the why, I'm going to throw something else in. Tua, 578, 9.8. Tannehill, when he was with Vrabel at Tennessee, 619, 10.5. Philip Rivers, not with the Chargers, with Indy, 578, 9.8 higher than Burrow. Rich Gannon, 6 years with the Raiders. There's probably a big chunk of people listening right now don't even know Gannon played quarterback. They know him as an announcer. 608, 10.3, more than Burrow. Wait for it. This is the one. Take a deep breath. Carson Palmer with the Arizona Cardinals, 644, 10.9 wins. 60-game sample size. Their coach, Bruce Arians, what can he do?
He can coach.
Has he won everywhere he's been?
Yeah.
So, we lay all that out, which is pretty surprising in a way. So you got some questions you have to ask yourself now. If you're a strategic business guy, they don't have one in the building. If they were one, Duke Tobin's not it. Mike Brown's not it. Katie Blackburn's not it. You got to say, what the hell? One of two things is either happening here. Is it Burrow's fault? Because this doesn't factor in injuries. This is when he played. Is it Burrow's fault? Is he really not that good? And almost everyone I've named does not have a Chase and T type duo. Very few had a Chase. Well, Montana. Montana won 2 championships, and his best team ever was 84, in my opinion. No Jerry Rice. Got me? Jerry Rice was not there yet. So is it his fault? Not to me, it's not. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it's a lot to take in. So with the league, how it is nowadays, and as many games as they're playing, I think that has a little bit to do with it. But you equated all those to the 17 games. I think injuries, you have to take into factor a little bit because of how you come out of that, whether it be how much rest you got coming out of the season. His rookie year was COVID, but I mean, let's face it. What it all comes down to is this organization just isn't very good. They just aren't. From top to bottom, they're just not very good. They settle for average. They settle for the 9-10 wins. Because it's kind of like me. I get excited for 9 and 10 wins because I lived through the 90s. I lived through some of them terrible years, even in some of the 2000s, some of the disgruntled Carson Palmer years, and before the Andy Dalton,
Yep.
Those years were so bad. Even though it's bad now, it's nothing compared. The Bengals were the Arizona every year.
Yep.
Every year.
So were the Lions.
Yeah. So they were the laughing stock. That's why everybody always called them the Bungles. It wasn't the Bengals. They were the Bungles. But it's us diehards that's been with them at my age that has not the ones who came in the Joe Burrow era. Because let's face it, there's millions of people who are now Bengals fans because of Joe Burrow. But people like me who have been with the team for so many years, and that's why I feel like sometimes I even settle because I don't even know how to act, and I don't know if I'll ever see a championship caliber, not team, because that may happen by accident or just basically by, they have a couple years that they draft well like they did in 21 and do the good free agency in 21, 22, and they get there. But for them to be a consistent organization, I don't know if I'll ever see it. I don't think I will. Mike's up there in years, but that ain't gonna matter. I do think that when Mike goes, I do think Duke will be promoted to whatever president of operations or whatever the hell they want to call it, because it won't matter, because he's more like his boy. He's been there long enough. His dad worked there. He's just, unfortunately, if you're a Bengals fan, I said the last few weeks, it's kind of what we got to deal with, and it sucks. It really does suck that we have to, year in, year out, love a team that just isn't going to be like the Kansas Cities, like the Green Bays. Even when Green Bay has a couple years, they always come out of it, right? That they always come out.
So does
of
Pittsburgh,
it.
right?
Yeah, and so as much as we hate them, and Baltimore, injuries. Look at Baltimore; they could win the damn division, and they were 1-5.
Yeah, how many injuries? Like, they missed Lamar. I'm not saying they don't, but that big defensive tackle, right, changed their whole defense because they don't have, and yet they want Harbaugh fired because their benchmark and expectations there, fair or unfair, is way higher than the Bengals.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you, I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. When they drafted Burrow, I predicted that they'd be 10, 11, 12 wins every single year. And that's how much I want. That's when I bought season tickets. I believed in him before it was cool to believe in him, right? When he shredded his knee, upgraded season tickets, got better seats, as you know, and believed in him. And I thought, you don't have to be that good. And you really don't. To be 11 and 12 wins with Burrow, Chase, and T and all those guys. But they've been horribly bad.
Historically bad. And it's,
and they're going to keep their job.
And they're going to keep the job. And I can't see them with Joe ever being less than a 6-win team.
No.
So if
you
see what I'm saying? So it's like kind of no matter what you do, if you're okay with where they're at now, is it going to change? Is the next year, if they're at 7 or 8 wins, is that going to change if they start to play better at the end of the year? It's just like it's this dead cat bounce thing. It's awful. It breeds confidence that shouldn't be there.
Yep.
The confidence should not be there. But what happens is, because of how good Joe can play, it seems to think, well, we can always do this because of Joe Burrow, and
it's not.
It's
true.
not. And the stat with 2-2 and even this year 5-2 this year, that stat means absolutely nothing. It means nothing.
Nope.
They got destroyed by Baltimore
in the game that mattered.
In a game that mattered. And when they was in the game with Buffalo, what happened? The cookie crumbled, right? And those are just things that I'm used to seeing, and I feel like I get over them way better than I should. I shouldn't get over them, these things, and move on. I should be so irate and so pissed that that it makes me maybe even just say, hell with it. I'm not doing this until you change. I'm not coming back. But I can't do it. Yeah. So, like I said, I bleed orange and black. I'm going to be with them through and through. But, man, it's hard year in, year out. Especially when you thought we were in a good place, right?
Yep, dynasty level.
Like we thought, 21, 22. I remember when Evan kicked the field goal. I was in my garage. I remember, I was like a 10-year-old dude. I ran out of the building screaming and hollering, hooping and hollering. Had a couple guys there with me. I was doing circles I was a kid in a candy store. Come on. It's hard. It's hard to deal with year in, year out. And unfortunately, I don't see it changing.
The tough part is, again, I'm not going to speak out both sides of my mouth. That's how big of a Burrow fan I wanted him to play at Ohio State, as you know, right? I moaned and groaned, made one of my best friends mad, and he hung up on me because I didn't like JT Barrett. And my buddy's pretty calm. I was like, I'm so sick of this fucking guy. He can't throw the ball. Why don't they put Burrow or Haskins or somebody? Click, right? And I saw enough in warm-ups and games going up there. Burrow was hurt, but I thought him or Haskins was better, right? And then when he went to LSU, I'm like, look, first year's a little shaky. So this dude's going to win, right? Got shit I bought memorabilia before he ever got to the Bengals, right? I just knew this kid was going to do it. He's not a kid now. But the flip side is exactly what you said. You have that being content, the fan base being content with 9 or 10 wins because it's exciting compared to what it used to be, and I agree. But the other side of that is I had so much high expectations, and not just him, but T and Chase and those guys and Trey, that I thought they could overcome Duke. That's why I picked them to go to the Super Bowl. I thought they could overcome Duke and Zach. I don't like either one of them, never have from the get-go, right? I thought he was so good he could carry their ass like he has before. And he has now, right? But I thought that's what this was going to be. And your margin for error is so huge. Think about that. You've got a franchise quarterback, I think the best receiver in the game. I think Joe's the best quarterback in the game. So I think you have the best quarterback and the best receiver. So now that margin for error, you look at other teams like the Saints, what they're going through, Tennessee, and various other teams. And even like the Bills, look at them. Their margin for error is a lot smaller. Bills don't have the talent the Bengals do. They don't. Allen doesn't have those guys to throw to. He never has. You look at like Rodgers, the moaning and groaning when he was in Green Bay and Favre, they don't draft high level. They made all those guys good and still won. He's got it. So you have all these pieces, the hard pieces to find, and they're content, and they still mess it up because you got inept ownership. You got an inept GM. He's not really a GM, which is ridiculous. And you have a head coach that can't motivate, doesn't have them ready out of the season, right? So you're always fighting, we talked about it. I said they're always fighting two coaches better than them in the division to start, Harbaugh and Topman. But they're also, until this year, fighting being 0-2, 1-3, and trying to make that great comeback, right? So I thought they could overcome it even with them, but that's unrealistic. Put too much on them, right? But I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'll throw in the but. The other side of this is, how that I got a piece here I'm going to talk about in terms of GMs. I'm throwing this on you too. It's kind of interesting. Guy I've communicated with wrote a piece about GMs, and we'll talk about it shortly, and what it means from an ownership standpoint and GM standpoint, which means something. But the other side of this is he talks about how the agencies work together. They hide what a certain coach did with a certain team. Zach's guys did that with them. Well, Sean thinks this of him, and you don't really know. That's why I would never take a chance on the guy. I would hire a Flores who I see what he's doing, right? I wouldn't have hired Bieniemy and the other guy from Kansas City because they can say whatever they want. Andy Reid's doing all the work, right? You know what I'm saying? So Zach wasn't doing anything with the Rams. How in the hell he got an interview is amazing to me. But what he talks about is how all the voices are around and talking this, that, and the other, and it's coming out a little bit. I would guarantee you, I would all but guarantee you, Burrow's people and people around Burrow's people are in his ear, get the hell out. I guarantee you they are. I don't think he's going to listen, but they know how good he is. They see what these other quarterbacks are getting, not money-wise, but wins and all this stuff. I guarantee you there are big-name people in that NFL circle that are telling him, get the hell out. Your thoughts?
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it at all. I mean, there's a perception regardless there's a perception before, just the fact that they went to 5 straight playoffs and then win a game. So the perception there where they can't, Marvin can't win the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Before that, they wouldn't go out and spend money. They wouldn't sign free agents. That's why Carson got pissed and left.
Yep.
And in the 90s, they couldn't draft. They couldn't draft, they couldn't spell their name right in a draft.
But if they were gifted Burrow, T, and Chase, they'd probably be in the same spot this team's in. Think about that.
Possibly.
Yep.
Yeah, possibly.
Yep.
And then, so it makes it unbearable when you go and you start thinking about what could happen. I don't see it happening. They better start doing something, or that next contract may be tough. So they better start putting a team together and putting some guys around him. But you can say what you want, though, man. But they kept everybody he wanted. I mean, I get it.
Yeah, as far as we know.
You know what I mean? Or hell, even if it's 75%. I mean,
I can't imagine he or anybody, Jamar, T, Trey before. I can't imagine any of them are happy. Oh, we got so much cap space. That's not when you're. We talked about this. When you're a championship level team and you're bringing in 7 or 8 rookies, I don't know how many fights about that. It was not a good thing, right? I was right. Where are you guys at? Where are all the apologies at? I've yet to hear them. Where are they at? I said that is not good. When you're on, that's good if you're trying to go from 5 wins to 8 wins. You're trying to win a championship and you've got 7, 8 rookies playing on it. That's not good. It's Duke and them beating themselves on the chest, right? How'd that work out? That's not good. And having that much cap space when you're trying to compete for a championship, that's not good. That's not good. It's not good. And here's the but. And maybe it is Homerville here. I honestly think, and they're not going to do it, but if they added like a Caleb, I'll just go Ohio State Homer. They added Caleb Downs at safety, and they added McDonald, the big defensive tackle. That whole defense is different. That's 2 players. Because now you can't run in the middle on them, and Caleb Downs tackling anything that moves. And that's the tough part of it is, and I'm sure they're thinking about this. I'm not devil's advocate for them, obviously, as you've heard me week after week. But they don't have to do much to win with this team. I don't care what their record is right now. Like, you bring that offense back, and the offensive line's playing better. Orlando Brown's scary. We'll talk about that another time. He's going to make their offensive line better than what they are. He did it before. You got those type of weapons. If you just get marginally better, they're going to win 10 or 11 games, compete for it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So people that are jumping ship, I'm not judging you. I understand. It's ridiculous that Duke Tobin's coming back Monday. It's ridiculous that Zach Taylor's coming back Monday. A real organization trying to win would have shit both their asses way before this, and they wouldn't have messed up the draft pick because those goons wouldn't have been there. A real organization like all the teams I just mentioned with those, they wouldn't have put up that kind of losing, right? They wouldn't have done it. There's no way. When they had that type of quarterback, they reacted and did shit to it. But it's not going to take that much to be right back in it. They're going to have to draft better than they did. But, switching topic.
I think this team, I think it's going to rely on free agency.
I agree.
They can't go out and expect to draft. They got enough young guys. They're going to have to go out and spend some money. And just like you just said, it's all laid out for them. You need linebacker, you need safety, you need help on the defensive line. Just put the resources in free agency.
They don't have to be great players.
They don't.
They don't have to be franchise tag type players.
No. But you still have the money to where you can probably go out and get a damn good player, and then put a bunch of smaller pieces around that player on top of what you. Because I'm telling you right now, their corners are pretty good.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad at all.
Dax has played well. DJ's playing well. Linebacker, safety, and some help at the end. Really in and interior. But, I mean, Shamar.
Who knows?
Who knows? And I got kind of – I'm pulling back on what I said a little bit there. I mean, because in the beginning of the year, man, I was giving Miles some hell.
He's playing better.
He's playing a lot better. You know who he reminds me of? A little bit better athletic Sam Hubbard.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He
chases
steals the end, chases it down. He'll get that garbage sack. I mean, I guarantee you. I bet all 5 of his. I think he's got 5.5. I bet all 5 of them are pretty much that corner lockdown coverage kind of, and that is a problem.
Yeah.
But he stays after it. He's hustling. Maybe he can get better. He's probably going to be that 6 to 9. That's probably all you're going to get out of him. So, but you need a Trey.
Yep, you got it. And he sacked Brissett on one.
And how about Max Crosby? Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh gosh, yeah. I don't know what to think about all that, but we'll talk about it. But you look at Brissett pulled the ball down, and if they had a good team, they're throwing all over the Bengals a lot of times there, right? And they didn't do it because he's pulling the ball down, whatever, rushing. He's career journeyman at best, right? And their whole team just sucks. The defense is a bigger joke than the Bengals even.
5 yards in a cloud of dust.
Yeah. So he got a sack where he chased it, right? But he's still hustling.
Sure.
But early pressures, he's not going to get it. And drafting him where they drafted him, that's not good, right?
That's a third-round guy.
Yep.
Which was a Sam Hubbard third round.
Yep, that's what we said at the time. Didn't like the pick at the time. Didn't understand what they saw in him. Shamara did. There's some burst there and things. We'll see how that goes. But so the but factor there, pun intended, is you don't need to do a whole lot. But you look at New England, they're having some problems. I don't know if you saw that. Bad timing in the playoffs. 2 guys in trouble now, right? The defense tackle and the Diggs, of course, he's always in trouble, both of them. But so you look at New England, you look at the Bears, Denver, the course of Peyton's been there, and Jacksonville. They added key guys via free agency that I don't think anybody's doing cartwheels over in their fan base, right? The center that the Bears added, the linebacker Spillane, and all these guys that they added, New England did more than that, are just pieces that know how to play. They're not all pro, but they're not horrible. They know. The thing is, they might be just a fraction better, more than a fraction better than the Bengals young guys, but they're not going to blow shit, right? They're not going to blow coverage. They're not going to have miscommunications all the time. That's what you get when you bring in veterans. And if you lose the game, they know how to handle it. They know how to bounce back. Even in game, a bad play, they don't sulk and cry, and they know how to come back from that, right? The effort by Geno and Jordan and Battle on that touchdown for Arizona, it's ridiculous.
Bad.
They're horrible. And you get a bunch of veterans in there chewing their ass, that doesn't happen. And if the veterans are at safety, they're not making those plays, right? So you look at the guy Duggar from Pittsburgh, right? They traded nothing for him. Like somebody was saying, the Bengals proved to be right trading Logan Wilson. No, they didn't. He got benched in Dallas. Dallas' give up. That doesn't prove anything, right? It means nothing. Because their linebackers aren't playing well, and you got a 7th-round pick, right? What's that going to do you? It's a practice squad player. You look at Duggar, though. Look how much better he is than the 2 safeties they have. Pittsburgh put him in, started. He's playing pretty damn well, right? That's the kind of – it's not – they make everything difficult, and a lot of people do. Well, they don't have enough scouts. So Ohio State just got the #1 recruit in the nation next year. Right? Some sites have him a little lower than that, but the 24/7 composite has him #1 recruit, right, out of Georgia. Big deal because they're going into the playoffs. They get him, right? He's 6'5", 225. So right then, it's an art as science, all of it combined there. They're projecting that guy to gain 30 pounds, which he will. They'll put it on him, and maintain his speed and everything else. That's where you need a lot of people looking at film, right? The NFL, you're seeing them playing college. Watch the tape whenever you want, right? You can project. I don't know why. Well, if we had 15 scouts and 10 instead of 10, like that argument against the Bengals, I don't agree with that at all.
I don't either. You're
not going to Kansas in the old school baseball, or Oklahoma trying to find Mickey Mantle who's playing on the dust fields, or Johnny Bench on the dust fields because they're not at a major college. Everybody you pick, by and large, are coming from college. You have film on them, and you're working them out, and you're talking to them, right? They're not stretched too thin on that. It's just who they have. They don't know what they're doing. Mm-hmm. And maybe the scouts do know what they're doing. It's Duke making the ultimate call. Doesn't know what he's doing. You follow me?
Yep.
Yeah, that's not the issue. It is an issue in terms of perception, right? Because that fits into what they do. But so Dan Hatman from the Scouting Academy wrote a piece, and I'll be quick on this. He wrote a piece on GMs. This guy's good. I don't know if I've ever talked to you about him. This is not a scouting job. It's running a business. That's a GM. The Bengals do not have a GM. Think about that. Think about that.
No, they don't.
One put it. All these responsibilities have one deliverable: building a winning team that competes for championships. The technical skills matter, but alone are not enough. The CEO runs the business, but the business is still, wait for it, football. That tension shapes every other aspect of the job throughout. They don't have one. Ownership's perspective, the GM is a single point of accountability for football outcomes. They don't even have one in the position. One respondent stated it bluntly. There's no ambiguity here. The football wins and losses fall on the general manager. Owners view the GM as accountable for everything on the football side. They expect GMs to make difficult decisions and explain those decisions clearly. One noted that the owner may not always agree with the decisions, but if given the opportunity to understand, they can support the GM. Owners want informed transparency, not just deference. Deference? Sound familiar? Team building versus talent accumulation. This is a copycat league. The vast majority of teams will copy what teams do that win. The Bengals are an F on everything I just said. Would you agree? F. They don't do any of that.
They don't do any of that. And they don't even they don't even give Duke the opportunity to even be that anyway, because of the limitations that they give him.
It's true.
Signing who? What do you think he wanted Jesse Bates to leave? Do you think that he didn't want?
We don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say he didn't want Jesse Bates to leave. There ain't no one wanted Jesse Bates to leave, which ended up, and we go on DJ Reader. There's multiple players here that have left or we could have gotten. Did he really not want to sign anybody in free agency last year? I'm going to say probably not. And his hands are tied with some of that. So it's a whole organizational failure.
It's those two things, the quarterback percentage stuff and what I just read there is, if I was a writer and put that down, that should be Pulitzer Prize winning. I joke, but it should be a high read, right?
Yeah.
Those two things are summarizing everything there. And it's tough. I don't know what Tart's done, but you remember when they worked him out? Mm-hmm. He went and played really well right after that. Becton, remember him? Mm-hmm. He played really well right after that. There's something about they didn't like. They let them both walk, and they go to, at the time, I think both went and started pretty good teams, right? Something's wrong, right? And I think to your point earlier, it's their expectations. And what I said years ago is to hang around. It's not to bust the door open and be a 12-win team every single year. They're just so scared to make tough calls, right? And it just goes back to everything that I just read from Dan Hatman's. He's contacting NFL personnel and doing all that. That summarizes it all. They don't do it like everyone else, so they're inept at it, right? It's different if you're, Billy Beane and the Moneyball stuff's a joke because he never won a championship, right? But it's not equal. The Yankees have the Dodgers have a bigger. The NFL's all equal. You don't need Billy Beane. People say we need that. You don't need all that. You're playing by the same set of rules as the Cowboys, who are making it. Jerry Jones can't spend more money than Mike Brown can. Think about that. You can't, and you got the biggest piece to solve it, and you still can't solve it. It's amazing to me. Incredible. We move on. I think the point's been made. But that's the best way I've articulated it yet as I try to get around to it. Just went with some stats and some real life situations. So final game, Cleveland comes to town. Cleveland will be there to win, which is nice, right? I don't think they're a very good team. Shedeur makes some throws every once in a while. He tried to give that game away. But their defense, when they come to play, they're still not that bad, right? I don't know if Schlesinger, you look at it, and I'm not defending Andrew Berry up there because I think he's horrible. But to your point, though, he may not be horrible either. Their owner's worse than the Bengals owner. Forced the Deshaun Watson stuff down their throat, right? And many other things. But the draft, Judkins got hurt. But Judkins, maybe Shedeur, but that Schlesinger linebacker is a player. But he's banged up. That dude, they were trying to drag him off the field, and the announcers were like, they need to get him off the field. He wouldn't come off the field, dude. Are our linebackers playing that way? Nah. And he's making plays, right? That kid's going to be a player. So they evaluated that better. Garrett's going to go for his record for sure. Pittsburgh kind of gave that. I don't know if you saw the end of that. Pittsburgh's trying to win the game or tie the game, and they threw at Denzel Ward 3 times. Rodgers did with Scanling, right? Mm-hmm. So odd. He was working in the middle of the field at tight ends. Washington got hurt, but odd, right? Which sets them up for the game this week. But I think the Browns are going to come in and try to win this game. If I was the Bengals, I'd say that's great. We'll play. I wouldn't play Burrow at all, but if he is playing, which he sounds like he's going to, I'd play him a series or two and he'd be gone. Let Shedeur shine, let him win. Who cares, right? I was at the game in 2019 and it was sweet. Where the Bengals won the game, didn't matter. They were going to get Burrow, right? Signs up everywhere for Burrow. Ugly game, right? And it was John Dorsey's last game, right? You could feel all the pressure there. And that's what this game should be. But it should be an interesting game, I think. The weather's not going to be too bad, a little under 40. What's your prediction on Sunday? Browns at the Battle of Ohio doesn't mean anything. That's the tough part, real quick. They put these division games together, and I'm not disparaging from doing so in the NFL, but by and large, these games would mean something at another point in the season. And I don't think they should do it any different. I'm not arguing that. But they put these division games together, 10% of them matter, if that. You know what I mean? It's a waste. The Battle of Ohio is just a waste. They haven't played since week 1. That was the first game, right? Mm-hmm. Ugly game, mind you. Go ahead.
I think the Bengals will win. It all kind of depends on how long Joe plays, if he plays the whole game or not. Really, the whole starters in general. I I think it's 7.5 right now is what
That's a
I've
lot of
seen.
points, I think.
That's a lot of points. I think the weather's going to, like you said, going to be okay. I don't even think that matters to Joe very much, unless it's like 0.
Yeah.
I think that game mattered,
Yeah.
to be honest with you.
Should.
So, yeah, I'm going to say I don't think they're not going to score in the 30s. I'm going to say maybe 25-20, 24-20, something like that. I do think Cleveland is going to score more than, yeah, for sure.
They're really good. Stefanski's got his critics probably more than Zach does here because it's been longer. You know, they've had a little rougher road, but he can coach, right? He does some things offensively that where Zach Davies just never had the talent. When he did, when Flacco played pretty well, they put up a lot of points, right? I think the screen game with that Sanders, whatever his name is from Tennessee, and those guys, Junkins out hurts them. But I think the screen game and some of that will work. Shedeur still misses. He gets a little happy feet in there, right? Made a cross the field throw, about lost the game for him. They showed Dion in the box. He just threw all the way across the field, easy pick. But I think the Bengals win, unfortunately, and I mean that unfortunately. I think it's going to cost them. I think they win 23-16, something like that. I think it'll be a little less than the spread, maybe even closer than that. But I think it'll be an ugly game, right? The offensive lines played better, but they gave up some pressures, right? They've given up some pressure the last few weeks. And this team's going to bring the pressure, right? They're going to put him everywhere, right? Try to get the sack. I think he'll get it. I think they play everybody all the way through trying to get the win. He's trying to save his job. But, it might be a decent, fun game to watch, I guess. But, all right, let's talk about draft slot, where we stand right now. The Bengals are currently 10th at 6-10. They've won 2 in a row. In the top 10 draft picks, they've won 2 in a row. And where's New Orleans has won 4 in a row. That's it. Everyone else is losing, and that's not by chance. Part of it is they suck, and part of it is they're smarter to know what the draft pick means, right? I do think Kansas City will win against the Raiders. But right now they're tied at 6-10 with the Saints, who could win, and the Chiefs, who could win. And I think will win. So if the Bengals will lose this game, which would be smart, they could jump all the way down to, or drop to 8th or move up to 8th, however you want to look at it, and pick 8th. That's big. I think they'll win. I think they'll pass Miami and potentially Atlanta and drop all the way to potentially 11th or 12th, which is stupid. Picking 8th versus 12th, as we watch every year, right? Everybody will say it doesn't matter right now. But it does come draft day, right? When you see those guys flying off the board. I think Tampa will beat Carolina. We'll talk about it. So I think with that said, if Tampa wins, the worst they could pick is 12th. If they lose and things fall right, they could get all the way up to 8th. So that's where we're at going into last week. It's a shame they didn't lose another game in there, but they weren't. Those top 7 are pretty much ironclad. You can't get them now. They are ironclad. So 8th to 13th is the range. I predict they'll finish 12th. You agree with that or not?
Yeah, I do.
A loss would be fantastic in this game. So,
which it's still could happen.
It could definitely happen, especially if they pull him for sure. Mm-hmm. And even if they don't, you look at the game 1, right? Mm-hmm. The Browns just play them well. And they play Pittsburgh.
I think
well
this
too.
will be a little bit more of a barometer on how the last 2 games have went. We've said, well, it's against Arizona. It was against Miami. They come out and put 37 on Cleveland defense, and Miles is going for the record. You can sit there and say, okay, that this sucks because they still have a top tier. And I'm kind of, dude, it's hard playing when it's freaking 10 degrees. I couldn't imagine being there out there that day.
That Baltimore game?
Yeah, that Baltimore game. I really think that weather had a dramatic impact on Joe. And,
dramatic.
Yeah,
It's a new
dramatic.
word. Write that down. Keep that one.
So,
and the other side of it is that's one of their weaknesses. A Baltimore team can play defense, even though they had everybody out, which is amazing.
and run the football.
Right? And do the short stuff, right? And in some ways, they're playing a little bit better with Hundley, which says a lot about Lamar, my friends. So that's where we're at on that. And the playoff scenarios, you got, let's look at it Saturday. We'll do some straight up stuff here before we get to our picks. How would that be? Home fry. Big games, right? There's still a few big games. There's games that matter in terms of seating and home field that tricky. So Saturday at 4:30 on ABC, you got the Panthers and the Buccaneers. Winner takes the division. Sad division. It always is. Tampa Bay looks really bad right now. They're playing awful. They've got a lot of guys out, but even getting guys back. But I think Tampa wins that game since Carolina packing. Your thoughts?
Yep, I got Tampa winning.
Then you got Seahawks and Niners. What a job by Kyle Shanahan. Unbelievable coaching. I mean, Purdy, whew, he's playing really well. I mean, really well. Their defense is banged up. A lot of guys out. If the Niners would win this game, the winner of this would get the number 1 seed. If the Niners could get the number 1 seed and get a few guys back, like the linebacker, right? You never know. You never know. That was your pick Super Bowl, right? I mean, what a job. But I kind of think Seattle wins that game. Your thoughts? Saturday night, ABC, Seahawks at Niners for the NFC West and top seed.
I got Seattle. I think Seattle will win that game.
Then you got Texans still competing for the division. What a job he's done. And he turned that defensive play calling over to Burke.
He did.
Look at that, what it's done. Take note, Zach, you fool. You never look at anything, Zach, you idiot. That's what happens with every team, right? They loosen up a little bit. He's the CEO now, so I think Texans win that game, but I also think the Jaguars beat the Titans. I tell you, I might change my mind a little bit on Cam Ward. He's not playing real well, but I see some development there. I kind of pull him for that guy, depending on who they hire as coach. But I think the Jaguars win, so it won't matter. Jaguars win the division. Texas win. Your thought on those two games?
Yep, I think both win, and I think they both cover.
Yep. Denver's got an easy matchup because the Chargers are going to rest Herbert. So more than likely, Denver will be the home field number 1 seed all the way through.
It's crazy.
What does a head coach do for you when you hire one, a real one? That's what it does, folks. New England competing for the top spot, play the hapless. Who they play? New England plays the hapless Dolphins. They're playing, the more Ewers plays, probably the better they'll get. But the Patriots are running roughshod. They're not playing around, are they? But I think they'll win, but they don't get home field. So Denver will have the home field. Will be interesting. And then Sunday night at 8:20, NBC Football Night in America for the AFC North. Ravens, the Ratbirds at Pittsburgh. Ravens are favored by 3.5. Lamar's still banged up. Your thoughts on that? DK Metcalf, what a dumb player. That's why Seattle got rid of him. He can't handle his emotions. He lives in his emotions. Not a smart player. Hurt him big time by getting suspended 2 games. Probably going to hurt his pocketbook as well. They needed him last week. I think if he plays that game, they probably win. Just takes pressure off everybody. He won't be there. Will Lamar, who knows? Ravens Steelers for the AFC North. Who do you got?
I got Baltimore.
Do you?
Yeah.
A lot of people seem to be going that way. What a job coaching by Harbaugh, regardless. I can't stand him. Yeah. Can't stand him at all, but what a job coaching. You got to give him credit. Everything's going wrong. I think Pittsburgh wins in a tight one, but who knows, right? That game could go either way. Mm-hmm. All right, my friends, so now we move on to the college football playoffs. Tonight, the Ohio State University takes on the Hurricanes from the Cotton Bowl win. Texas should be a good one. I'll go real quick on draft prospects. You got McDonald and Downs and Sonny Styles. All would look good in orange and black, my friend. Reuben Bain, the defensive end for Miami. I don't like guys that aren't long like that at end, but my gosh, that dude, he's scary tonight. So is their left tackle. Some big-time prospects in that game. Tomorrow, New Year's Day, Oregon. The Oregon Ducks and Texas Tech. Oregon, obviously, the quarterback's probably going to go top 3 if he comes out, which I think he will. That tight end, have you seen him, Sadiq?
Yeah.
Another player, he's only 6'3", as a tight end. Dude, he's the first guy off the bus. You go on the road game, you send him off the bus first, those arms. That dude's, he's going to be a player, man.
He's jacked.
He's going to be a player. So you got safety for Oregon's a big watch as well. Texas Tech got the Bailey kid at end. Could be, he would help Rodriguez later rounds for the Bengals. Hell yeah. Sign me up. Indiana and Bama. Ty Simpson will get picked pretty high, I think. I don't know about him, but I think he's probably going to go in the first round. I love Proctor. People were going off, swaying away from him, the left tackle for Alabama. I'd take him in Cincinnati. 360 pounds. They throw passes to him. You get somebody to motivate him, lean down a little bit. That dude's got all the skills to be a high-level tackle, in my opinion. Some good defenders in that game for Indiana. The guy that covered Jeremiah Smith that went to his school, defensive back. And then what game am I forgetting? Oh, yeah, Georgia and Ole Miss. They put 2 SEC teams together on purpose to make sure they had one in the Final Four. Mark it down. I said it. Georgia's always got some talent, but not the same there. So that should be interesting from a draft prospect. Ole Miss got a couple guys as well. All right, so let's look at the spread. We'll do our NFL picks first. Who do you got your 4 picks for the NFL, my friend?
I have Houston 10.5 at home versus the Colts. I have the Patriots 10.5 at home versus the Dolphins. I am taking the Bears.
The Bears
At home -3.
Yeah, the Lions are done.
Yeah, and then Tampa Bay -3 at home versus Carolina.
So I got Tampa Bay -2.5. So I'm doing that as well. I got 2.5. So that hook's a big one. I got Denver -12.5. I got the Jags -12.5 versus Tennessee. Jacksonville's playing really well. Still hard to believe in them, but man, they're playing well. And Lawrence with his legs, they're going to be hard to handle, I think, for a change. Houston 10.5 versus Indy as well. If Rivers is playing, I'd probably still pick it. But did you see his interview? That was so good in the pregame. They brought him on in the field because it's so abnormal. Generally speaking, quarterback's not going to talk that close to the game. But they did. So they brought Rivers on with Fox, and he's such a likable dude, man. Mm-hmm. They're saying, he goes, yeah, I guess I'm not as fat as I was. Isn't that right, Howie? And Howie said, or Howie and Strahan or one of them, Gronk and one of them. They said, we didn't say it, Howie did. And they're going on. And at the end, he made sure he got the last shot in. Rivers did. He goes, I'll wear a big flap jacket, Howie, and he just dropped the mic and walked off. Like, he's not fat. But all things considered, he played pretty well, right? He said, I'm done. He had his high school team there to watch him. That'd been a cool story if they got in, right? All of a sudden, Lou Anarumo, everybody was spouting about him. That defense kind of looks like what we saw here. Think about it. Very similar down the stretch.
Oh, yeah.
Very similar. They're going to end up bottom half of the league for sure. Rivers, pretty cool scenario with him. All right, let's go to our college picks, my friend. The playoffs only. So you can go in line there, you can start it, and I'll follow up.
All right, Ohio State -9.5. Florida. Yep.
Well, Miami, you mean?
Miami, yeah. And then 2.5. Oregon, taking them over Texas Tech. I'm also I am going to take Alabama +7.5. I think Indiana wins, but that's a lot of points. I think Alabama will play good enough to keep that spread there. And then I've got Georgia covering 6.5 against Ole Miss.
So we basically have the same picks. That's not good. I got Ohio State -9.5, Oregon -2.5, Bama +7. I didn't get the hook, which means I could push. But I do think Indiana wins that game. That's a lot of points, man. This is new. I know they were there last year, Indiana, but this is old hat for Bama. And they like them or not, I don't. But they definitely got a chip on their shoulder, right? I understand what's that's Simpson. They can't run the ball, but Indiana's defense, I'm excited about that game. Also, Texas Tech's a fun team, right?
Yeah.
That defensive end, that Rodriguez is a beast. They can score points, but I think Oregon beats them in a close one. And I also like Georgia -6.5 versus Ole Miss. Oh, Nelly, let me tell you about Keith Jackson Roll Tide. But Georgia, I think even if Lane Kiffin was there, I don't think it makes that big of a difference. I think they win. So those 4 games will set up some interest. I thought about still pondering about going to Arizona next week on Thursday. It'd be nice with this weather, going there to watch the Buckeyes versus the Georgia Bulldogs, but I don't think I'm going to do it. Those 4 games are going to be fun, right? College football playoffs, they do a lot of things wrong. For example, the transfer portal is going on this week while you got the playoffs going on. So you're doing free agency and coaches changing while the playoffs are going on. They got to fix that.
Yeah.
And then in basketball, a guy that's been playing, he was a pick 2 years ago, went overseas and played in Europe, and Baylor just signed him to play this year in college, just now. Like, he's coming right now. Mm-hmm. So they're losing their mind, coaches are. I think they're going to put pressure to change all this nonsense. But courts got involved, right? That's why you don't get the courts involved. So should be fun. Go Bucks. I'm looking forward to tonight. I think Saint, get all choked up, I think Saint will play really well. They're healthier now. Jeremiah Smith's healthier. Tate's healthier. Their defense can fly around. Like, they have 3 to 4 guys, maybe more on defense, that are better than the players that the Bengals play at that slot, right? Downs, Styles, Reese, who they're not going to get to, and, of course, McDonald, and maybe more, really. But we'll stop there. Like Kenyatta Jackson and Caden Curry. I'd take Caden Curry in Cincinnati, or Kenyatta Jackson 2nd, 3rd round next year for sure. So it's going to be interesting. I think, Ryan Day's taking over play calling, given the situation with Hartline, like we just spoke of, guy leaving during the season. It's so stupid how they do all that nonsense. But should be fun tonight. I'll be amped. So that's my New Year's plan. So anything else you want to throw in, Steve Boy, before we wrap this up?
That's it, brother. I hope you have a great New Year's Eve watching your Buckeyes. And if you're out and about and you're going somewhere to watch a game,
Be safe.
Be safe. But guess what? Also traffic, stay to the right. Peace out.
We out.